pilot episode. Here we go again with your three friends, Drew, Neil, and Perk. We got your favorite movies and shows. It's three guys nobody knows. The pilot episode.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the pilot episode. We got a little change of scenery for 3 out of the 4 of us. We do have Calvert in here. He is the expert of Fallout. And I will turn it over to y'all because we got a lot to unpack here. In my opinion, best episode of the season.
I feel like I should have just like ran in off the side and just like
Come through a window.
Yeah, I could.
Come through
Yeah,
a
or
window.
repelled from the roof. That would have been a well, I don't know if it
Or impaled from the roof. Reference to the
Oh,
ghoul.
it'll hold you.
Yeah.
We
but
tested out the
Fallout.
strength of them trusses.
This was episode 6 of the season, which was another good episode to me. I don't know how y'all felt about it, but I thought it was another really good episode. It had a lot going on, and the ending of it was probably my favorite part, where we get Maximus back with the ghoul. He finds him dog meat, leads him to him, and then we're already set. We're getting everybody is starting to get back all into one scene.
Mhm.
It's not happened yet, but you see Lucy's going to be paired up with him eventually, I'm sure, and everyone's going to be back together.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Perk, I know you're a big notes guy, so what's some things we got to talk about?
First note I had was Hank has kidnapped a whole heck of a lot of people that
Yes,
we
I
did
know
not see him kidnap them, but he's got a lot.
It's a bunch, and I don't know when he found the time to do that, but he's clearly figured it out finally. And I think like when he noted to like being murderers and things like that, I think that kind of goes back to what I was talking about the other day when it was like something where for it to work, it has to be somebody willing to accept getting rid of the past, or they just can't be morally correct. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Did you notice
Yeah,
that the last guy they brought in was the NRC soldier that the ghoul let
Yeah.
go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
One of the Legion guys.
and one of y'all told me that I don't remember which one of y'all it was that told me that we're going to get a more prominent role from Macaulay Culkin, and so that makes sense now.
I'm excited about that too. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Home Alone in there.
Yeah. One quote that I really liked between Hank and Lucy was when he was like, "I thought the wasteland had changed you," and then she pulls the scissors or whatever it was up to his throat, and the fact that she wants to bring him to justice and not just kill him, he knows that his daughter is still like the morally correct girl that he raised and all this stuff. So I did think that was cool.
She still has her moral compass, as someone might say.
I
Right.
think he's just a slime ball, though, and he's still just using it to
He is.
manipulate her. He has no intentions. He
He's
knows if he
really
gets back to
working
that
on
vault,
that.
he's good.
He is definitely working an angle here. You are
Yeah, he gets back to the vault, he's good. Like because Betty, I don't know if you guys seen, but Betty, the overseer of the vault,
Yeah.
she was the secretary for the ghoul's wife. She was the girl that his wife looked at and said, "Find out where Vault Tech keeps the cold fusion core." That was Betty.
dude. I didn't even put that together.
Yes, and that's a big thing. Like you guys know that like season 1, I know y'all didn't have a podcast to cover it. Season 1 was all about started out with a scientist, Ziggy Wiltzig or something like that. The scientist, and he had the cold fusion in his neck. He kills himself so that Lucy can decapitate him, so he can get it back to Moldova, so that the Enclave or the Vault Tech doesn't get it. And then we get to see her pull the cold fusion out of Hank's neck while he's passed out. Yeah. So that was a real cool. I don't know if, and also I don't want to jump ahead of Perk here, but the scientist in the elevator that basically threatened her, told her, in season 1, he's escaping from an Enclave facility.
Yeah.
And that is the same guy that sacrificed himself and let Lucy cut his head off. It took me a second. I was like, where did I see this guy?
Yeah. The other thing that I seen in this episode that we learned is Cooper's wife may not have been as bad of a person as we thought.
She was just a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
And it's not like she was the one making the decisions, and you can see it come across her face, her realizing what she's a part of in some of these scenes when they're talking about like the marketing of Vault Tech and stuff, and she's like, "This is insane that we're doing this," but she's stuck in it. And like the scene between her and Cooper in the hotel when they're talking about Cooper's like, "You would kill millions of people for Janie," or is that the kid's name, Janie or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "You would kill millions of people for Janie," and she's like, "Wouldn't you?" And that is such a tough like spot to be in, and I can't imagine being in that spot.
As a parent, it would be hard not to. Like,
Right?
that's your child. And
It's
I
just
understand it looks bad.
so big. Yeah, it's just crazy.
It looks bad, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's your child. I get it from her perspective there. But
Mhm.
the other thing is I was thinking more or less like, yeah, she was kind of like told what to do and stuff like that. But I viewed it as her main goal is to go with the flow to make
Mhm.
sure her, Janie, and Cooper are okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because she knows this is going to happen, whether she's a part of it or not. She wants to protect her family.
I
And
can't
this-
wait to see what occurs that makes it so that her and Janie are the only two that end up in that cryopod. What happens where Cooper ends up becoming the ghoul and those two are in these cryo chambers? Because, like, the way I see it is he's probably going to be met with the moral dilemma of knowing that he's safe, even though the world is not because of his wife by proxy and he's just going to turn it down. That's the only way I
Well,
can think of getting to it. But
think of how season one started. The scene that started. He's at a birthday party with his daughter, and he watches the first bomb go off.
Yeah.
And he
Right.
jumps on the horse. I think it was with his daughter.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
I'm guessing that he takes his daughter, gives his daughter to his wife. So there's some kind of climactic last second. He might even give his daughter to Hank. It's going to be something crazy like that. He's
Yeah.
going to have to hand his daughter over in some
But
way.
regardless, we know he dropped her off at some point.
yeah,
Yeah,
another
something
thing I'm really looking forward to is when Lucy finds out that the ghoul is Cooper Howard, because we see in the first season her and her dad watching Cooper Howard films, so she knows who Cooper Howard is. She just doesn't know that she's been traveling with Cooper Howard this whole time because he's got this character of the ghoul, which I don't know if you caught this whenever he was like trying to go feral on the lamppost or whatever the post was. He says, "I am Cooper Howard," but he says it in his pre-war voice. So the ghoul is a character that he's putting on for the Wasteland.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
I
also,
noticed he was trying to like keep himself from turning
Yeah,
by
just
saying
trying to
he,
stay sane.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
have you guys noticed his eyes? And y'all probably did not play in the game as much, but his eyes are not blacked out. And one
Mhm.
thing with ghouls is ghouls have solid black eyes. They strategically chose to keep his eyes from being blacked out so
Is
that
he
you
like
would know that.
a hybrid type deal? Like he's
No,
not.
he's just not feral. He's not feral, but they strategically chose to keep him just with human eyes for several reasons. It's just the impression of the character of
Yeah.
who he is.
I
A
did
lot of it.
Haley, though, to your point, is like Blade. I was
Yeah.
like, he's not necessarily a daywalker, but he's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it is with the eyes. A lot of it was so that he can act with his eyes because he is a real big guy, like an expressive
Yeah.
actor in his face. Even through all that makeup, he's an expressive actor. But if you had his eyes completely blacked out, he would lose a big part of that
A lot of his effect
in
and
himself. Yeah.
acting.
And then he gets saved by a super mutant, the first super mutant we've seen in the show. Did y'all happen to recognize who the super mutant was?
I didn't, but that is going to lead me to my question for Calvert once you get done with this point.
The super mutant is played by Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, what's something he's known for? I'm not good with names. I've
Sons of Anarchy.
recognized him when I seen him, but what's he from?
Sons of Anarchy.
As in Clay?
Clay.
Oh wow.
That would be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense because I'd seen him, and then when you said Sons of Anarchy, I kind of put it two and two together. It was Clay.
Mhm.
But my question for Calvert was going to be: so is that society or whatever that group, whatever you want to call it, of the Abominations, is that going to play a role? Do you think, as far as like what you recall from games and stuff like that. Is that going to be a big player in this show going forward?
Yeah, so with this show, and I won't say that we were introduced to the Enclave, but just a rundown for people that don't know, the Enclave is a sector of the U.S. government that survived. I think I've heard it being the remainder of the CIA. Their mission was to wipe out 99.5% of Earth's inhabitants, or just of human beings. They funded the money for 122 of the vaults. They were all for experimental purposes. They even developed plagues. And if you hear the super mutant talking to him, he tells him there's a war coming against the Enclave.
I heard that.
And they made us, but they look at us as abominations. So it puts it out to the super mutant is it's almost like they're banding together as even super mutant and ghoul and saying, you know, this was done to us. It was not our fault. Now they treat us like abominations. Is it going to play a big role? Yeah, I imagine there are still complete and total communities of super mutants out there. If you guys noticed the meat pack, when he was dragging him, there was a bag. I don't know if you couldn't really tell, but that is full of just mushed up bones and human substance from where they have just smashed humans. Yes. And so, will it play a big factor? Absolutely.
Okay.
Which the Ron Perlman's involvement in the show is a callback to the first and second video game, Fallout 1 and 2. He was a super mutant in that game. He voiced a super mutant in that game. And I believe he said in an interview he did that voiceover role for $40 in a sandwich or something like that.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And it was in what was it, 99 when the first one came out, 98, something like that. So
I didn't realize this was that old.
Oh, so Fallout goes way back. If I'm not mistaken, Fallout started. Somebody can correct me. I'm not so certain that it didn't start with books before it was video games, but it could have started as video games and then some type of books came out.
Yeah,
in the middle.
How many Fallout video games are there? Because I would imagine we're probably going to get somewhere around that many seasons of this.
Dude, you've got Fallout 1, 2, obviously 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, not canon anymore. You've got
Fallout Tactics.
I don't know if it's even canon anymore. You've got Fallout 76, Fallout New Vegas. The DLCs added on are by the dozens, and I'm probably missing some here.
Calvert, the first thing was the video game in 97. No books or shows were written until after the first video game.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that just leads me to believe that we're only getting started with this show. Like, we have so many more places
to go. A long way.
This is a massive world that has been built out by multiple different game developers and studios, and this whole world is massive. And if they wanted to go on this show for 15 years, they probably could.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: she's found her dad, and generally speaking, in the games, you find what you're looking for. You're conflicted on it, and then all heck breaks loose, and it ends up in a gigantic conflict. So what we're probably going to see, that they're really leaning on the Enclave. I don't know if y'all remember Mr. House talking to Howard and telling him there's another player involved, and it's all pointing towards it was inevitable. And so basically led to believe that Mr. House was the guy that caused it all. Hearing Mr. House talk to Howard, I'm not so certain how much of a bad guy we will look at Mr. House like before this is over with. So the Enclave is one of the absolute coolest factions that there is. It's like the Men in Black of this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And another small thing I wanted to talk about is I love Thaddeus so much, and I'm glad he's back because that actor is so good.
Yeah, it's just good to see all the scenes with him. I don't know if it's just the way that it was written, but all the scenes that him in this just tend to be better.
Who's Thaddeus?
The ghoulified friend of Maximus, the guy that's going around with Maximus.
Yeah, the guy who got ghoulified by that thing at that
the snake oil salesman. Yeah.
Yes, I forgot.
Little nerdy looking fella, about my size.
He plays a good
Yeah.
scary guy. Doesn't he?
He is good. Even in the kid scene, and everything. That was that 2 episodes back.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Slave
Super.
driver, piece of garbage.
Do what?
He was a slave driving piece of garbage, dude. He
Yeah, he
figured,
really was.
I don't know if he abducted all those kids or if he found them or what. But he was a piece
Every
of
day
crap.
your life's a good day, or whatever he says when he's standing in there. But back to the video game part of it, is the video game as fast paced as the show is? Because as far as the show goes, week to week, they're about as fast paced as it gets.
It's up
It's
to
really
you.
just based on how you play it. Yeah, it's like it's an open world game, so you can.
Yeah.
There's like
It's your own.
there's a main storyline, and then there's like branches off of side quests you can go on, or you can just barrel through the main story if you want to. But there's 100 different things, different ways you can go with the
Yeah.
with
Now,
the
Neil, also to answer your question, they made a callback to that. She was talking about doing something one time in season 1, and the ghoul told her. He made a quote. Anybody out there can find this, put this quote together, but it was a callback to that in the games, like something about basically you stay on track. And so
Mhm.
they were pretty much just, and he like she would see like whenever she'd hear a cry for help or like yes, it was in
like this
season 1
episode, when
season 2
her season, whenever she had to rescue that girl with
Mhm.
the,
from the Radiscorpions. That was a side quest.
Yeah.
didn't have to do that,
Yeah,
but you did.
Stay on track.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
that was it.
Well, I'll say this for the show as a whole, outside of maybe Mayor Kingstown, this is probably the most action-packed show that's came out in the last few years. As far as week to week goes,
I would agree with that. As somebody like I watch a bunch of different shows,
Yeah.
and this show really does. You get what you like. If you were paying for this, this would be a thing where you get what you pay for. You get your bang for your buck with this show
Yeah.
because it's all constantly moving forward.
This is not
Mhm.
one of those shows you can get up and go pee and leave it running for 30 seconds. You got to pause it and then come back in because there's just so much constantly going on, which I think is
Yeah.
great. That's the only reason I like it.
It's
How fast paced it is.
Yeah, it's not in the same light of say Landman where they set up a problem
Yeah.
and then you don't find out about what happens with that problem until 4 episodes from now. If they set up a problem at the end of the episode, they're going to get to it next episode.
I feel like the way they write it and the way that they produce this show is what a fan would want. Like it
Mhm.
is, you don't have
It's
to wait. I mean, you're
so
waiting
far
every week because you want to see what happened at
Mhm.
the end of the episode next week.
right.
But you know you're going to get
Yeah,
that
as
answer.
soon as you jump back
Yeah.
in it, you're back in the ship.
hmm So far, it's been 6 weeks. It feels like we've had a 6-hour long movie. Is what this feels like.
I would agree with that 100%.
So is there anything, Calvert, as far as from this episode or Perk, because I know, like you said, you've been playing some games these games as well. Is there anything that someone might have missed from this episode if you have not played the game? Because we get a lot of like comments and stuff on our videos that do the best are the ones where you are explaining what happened in the video game versus this, or why you didn't know this if you didn't play the video game.
Well, I can say this. Maybe not necessarily anything that I picked up on that somebody wouldn't know other than just who the Enclave is, what the Super Mutants are, what they do. I will say just to something people can consider for the show itself. Right now, we do know that Howard's wife has the cold fusion. She took it out of Hank's neck. And we do know that somehow the cold fusion ends up in the hands of a scientist.
Yeah.
A scientist that is not a ghoul, that is still 200 years after the bombs drop, 290, whatever it is, years after the bombs drop. So at some point, right now, what we're going to see is that cold fusion is going to make its way from Howard's wife's hands to the scientist, and he is going to get cryolated, and he is going to somehow become uncryolated and then escape. So that's just something to think about as we see that back timeline develop.
And now,
And then it somehow ends up at the Brotherhood of Steel, and then Maximus takes it.
Well, I think it ends up at the Brotherhood of Steel when they have the giant conflict at the end of season 1, and Moldover and her people are fighting.
Yes.
And Brotherhood of Steel. So that's I guess it's out now. There may be multiple of those cold fusions, but I don't think there are. I think it's the same.
I don't think so. I believe this was the first instance of cold fusion.
It even looks like the same vial and bottle that
Mhm.
she had it from in Vegas with
Mhm.
or with House or whatever, and
Yeah.
one that Maximus now has. It looks like the same vial.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
I
don't be
believe so.
surprised if it somehow, with the way Fallout works, if somehow Howard starts working with Mr. House or becomes almost seemingly the guy that made the bad decisions and his wife done so. You just never can tell how this is
Yeah.
going to play out.
And if you remember correctly, House was talking about until Cooper made the trip to Vegas,
Mhm.
the date for which the world was going to end moved up.
Yeah, it got sped up.
Yeah, so that, like you saying, that could play a huge role. He could
Mhm.
actually be even more of a part of this than we realized.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll have to give it to him. What is it, Walton Goggins?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sir, your back has to hurt from all the shows you carry, but I'm so glad he's here.
He's
And
good.
I'm so glad they didn't decide to kill him off right there. I know a lot of people probably thought it was, possible. I didn't really think it was possible, but he is awesome.
If you enjoy this show and you enjoy Walton Goggins in this show, I cannot recommend enough 2 shows, which we have actually reviewed one, which is Unrighteous Gemstones
Righteous
or
Gemstones.
Righteous Gemstones. I'm sorry, well, it's kind of,
Yeah, Uncle Baby Billy.
Raunchy
the
Gemstones.
other one, which you can kind of speedball through this one, Vice Principals is phenomenal.
Anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of vice principals in the Ghoul, like specifically the scenes with him and his wife in this episode.
Bitch a boy, bitch a boy, bitch a boy.
And some of the shit he says is Uncle Baby Billy. All I need is $1 billion and an 8-ball, and
Eight
we'll,
ball.
we'll get this shit wrote.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
great actor, he is. This show
One of
does-
the thing,
it puts him on a pedestal on this show. That was a great idea.
yeah, one of the things I did want to bring up that relates to the video games is it's been a thing throughout the entire show, but specifically this episode, the music choices were music from the games. Like Uranium Fever is a huge one that I've heard probably 50 times playing Fallout 4 in the last couple of months. That was a really fun scene that I really enjoyed
See, that
with
shit.
that song.
Also, something people may not know, the reason that super mutant put the uranium inside of the injury to the ghoul is because ghouls are healed by radiation. That's why he said bad for them, good for you, because it would kill a human.
Yeah.
But it healed him, which is very, very interesting on the morality of this particular super mutant. I'm not sure if this guy could be some type of lone wanderer, because super mutants most of the time, unless they're like the companion that you're supposed to run into, are ruthless, big machine gun or giant axe or suicide bomber carrying a mini nuke. Like
Well-
they're usually bad.
Do we think it has anything to do with the fact that he sees Cooper as someone who could really help him in his cause? Because he knows, like, he has a lot of respect for Cooper, maybe. He's heard about him. He's watched him, something like that.
Yeah, and I will say this too. It seems like in the games, and I could be wrong for any of the gamers out there, when you run into a super mutant that seems very smart, most super mutants talk like, you die now. Like, that's how they talk.
Like
When you run
brutes,
into a
yeah.
super mutant that is very smart, a lot of times they were a scientist or someone highly intelligent.
Like
that got
Virgil.
turned- yeah, they got turned to super mutant in an odd way. Like it was maybe an experiment or something crazy happened that turned them into a super mutant. Obviously, the super mutants, if I'm not mistaken, originate from the Enclave running experiments trying to create superhumans.
FEV. Yeah, it was FEV experiments.
Yes.
Which is the same stuff that Norm has now figured out that is the plan for them to experiment. Phase 2 is for them to use FEV on the Vaults 31 and 32 people and turn them into super mutants. Basically, that was the plan.
Okay, you're now
So-
the expert. You're the expert. I can see. I can
I've
see.
watched-
That's awesome.
He's been putting the
I've watched an insane amount of YouTube videos.
See,
about
and that's
all
why
crap.
that's why this show is so good. Is because Tom Howard and the people that make the games and are making this show love Fallout like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but to their credit, like I've said on here before, take the games completely out of it. The show is very, very
It's still a great show. Yeah.
without.
It's one of the most amazing things.
Mm.
It's amazing.
What do y'all have anything else? I know Perk's got to get back to work. Y'all have anything else before we head out?
I think we've pretty much. I mean, we could talk about this episode a while with everything that happened, but I
Yeah.
think we've pretty much covered the
Mhm.
beef of it.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have one thing I want to say. So we had Landman in this week, and so if we have any suggestions from our followers for some TV show that comes out week to week, we are viewing options for starting another week to week episode like this, similar to the Fallout episode, similar to how Landman was. So if you have a great show you watch, let us know. Maybe something that's not 7 seasons in, something we can get caught up on pretty quickly.
But we do have a couple new ones coming out
We-
this
we
year.
do.
We know that are lined up.
We do have some lined up stuff. A lot of more of the why am I blanking on our director's name? Taylor
Taylor
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Yeah, so we do have some more of that coming up. But as far as the schedule for next week, you will see we have a wheel spin on tomorrow's episode. We're going to review a movie on Monday, and we're going to do our normal review that'll come out tomorrow as well. But yeah, I think that's going to pretty much do it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, maybe even throw a comment in the comments. Let us know what you thought of this episode of Fallout. And Grandma Deborah, the pilot episode, put out another podcast. Neil?
We'll see.
The pilot episode.